this is now the second part of the custom extension keyword demo. And in this demo, we have just, spiced things up a little bit. So let me show the setup that we have. So we've done a customization, if you will, by setting the symbolic URL. You might be familiar with symbolic URLs, which then are shown as iframes in the Siebel user interface. And there is one that is a standard view with a standard applet. It's actually used to display the scheduled jobs for BI Publisher, which is a separate web page. We do not have BI Publisher in this environment, so I just did a little mock-up of an fictitious external website. And that website is real, and it's served by the same server, so it's very convenient for all the course stuff that goes on in the browser. So let me show you this site. It's a site you might also remember. It's the Siebel online help that comes with your Siebel application, and there you can, it's an interactive page, so you can type in queries about queries, and you get document for how to run queries in Siebel, so it might be really useful. And so let's consider that our external website, like BI Publisher or any other external application that you expose in Siebel as a symbolic URL, or manually using JavaScript as an iframe, because that's what technically happens. So this, of course, is not the iframe. This is a separate tab. So let's close that. And let's see that view where this symbolic URL is used in an applet. So I can go to sitemap and look for the scheduled reports view. And that now displays in line in Siebel, the Siebel online help, and is still fully functional, right? So, yeah. And so let's imagine this is our interactive web application inside Siebel in an iframe. So is this really an iframe? Let's inspect. And we do have an iframe here, yes. So that means we can address it in JavaScript, but test automation wise, there's no chance to actually test it. So let's do a right click, control right click. Doesn't do anything because it's not Siebel, right? And if we inspect anything, we don't see any Siebel automation tag attributes, and they would be pretty much useless if we would actually try to insert them. Test automation runs in the main frame, in the parent frame, and it could not actually reach the Siebel frame here. So the symbolic URL frame, I mean. So the solution is, of course, custom extension, Java code to the rescue, and of course Selenium. So I've written a bit of a variant of the my class that we introduced earlier. So now we are evaluating the first input argument. So if that equals mark, we actually run that script that puts in the blue box. So we see that the Java class is running. And if the first input argument equals to iframe, then it kicks off a few lines of Java, which is, of course, Selenium, using the Selenium class. And we execute the script to, well, actually change that marker text to iframe for the win. And then, so we signal we are in here. And then we use the driver switch to, which is Selenium. So look it up in the Selenium documentation. I did the same thing. And we address the frame by its ID. So now we actually tell Selenium to switch to that iframe, so to that context. And now inside that context, we can do the Selenium thing. So find the text to search input, send keystrokes like enter queries, and then click that search button. And it's important when you are inside an iframe context, you have to switch back to the default content by using this function. So this is all documented in Selenium very nicely. And so let's see how we set this up for a Siebel test script. So I've recorded a simple test script where I just navigate to that scheduled reports view, and I expanded it by adding a few steps. And the first step I added, step 2 here, is using already my custom class, using custom extension, this time with mark as the first input variable. Remember when it says mark, it just runs that blue box. It shows that blue box. Then we go to sitemap. This is recorded. We go to, well, we enter scheduled in the filter, and we go to the report job list view. Then just for good measure, I added a wait step. So let's say the other page takes a while to show up. So it might be prudent to add a little bit of wait step here. And here is the step that you're waiting for. Still using the same class. It's convenient, of course, you can use different classes if you want, if it gets more complex. And now my first input variable is iframe, and that should run the code that we have just seen. And then we should return to the normal context and be able to navigate to the home page and finish the script. So, of course, we need to play that back to see it for real. Seeing is believing. And as always, I'll come back to the video to the playback when it gets interesting. So the script has started. We should see a blue box momentarily. There it is. So the sitemap is navigated to go to the scheduled reports view. There we are. So let's watch if a search is done and the blue box is changed. So a lot of things happen simultaneously. So I think that was a successful execution. Let's see the report. And the report tells us that the first custom extension execution was successful. We've seen the output literally on the screen. And then the second custom extension call was successful as well. Of course, you could use output variables to signal anything to the remaining steps in a test script, and we were able to, well, continue the normal steps, let's say, inside the Siebel test automation. So we pass back the context out of the iframe successfully, and I requested a screenshot in that second step, and the screenshot also is nice to take, so you can really prove that this happened when your script runs in lights out mode. So yeah, that's another way of using the custom extension keyword and the ability to execute any Java code. And of course, the Java code will most likely, at least in our scenarios, be related to Selenium and doing things in the browser. Remember, you can do almost anything with Java on the machine. You can reach out to the operating system. You can read and write files. You can call applications. Really anything goes that is allowed in the context of the DISA Java execution.